You do not have to know a thing. There is nothing that you need to know. The being knows. The being is pure wisdom, pure knowledge. The being knowing itself is where the deep divine wisdom is always full and rich and whole. So you do not need to know anything with the mind, not in the way that is imagined. You just need to know yourself, the wise being that lives inside this present moment, to know yourself and to trust the knowing of yourself. Trusting the knowing of yourself accesses the wisdom, universal wisdom, pure wisdom, the self-knowing itself, the wisdom of pure knowing. The vast field of intelligence that knows. Mind cannot imagine how it can know nothing and yet in that know everything, in truth. It is just to be here, just to be here, to be yourself, to be here as the wise being that knows. Allowing all movement to be a flow from this divine wisdom source. Can be no mistakes, can be no holding of position, no control, no right or wrong. Just this moment, the way that it is, this perfect moment, the way that it is. Just to be here, this perfect, holy moment, just as it is. Mind can imagine a myriad of other ways that it could be, but without a single thought, is there really any other option than this moment here now, just as it is, without thought? No. There is just this moment, just as it is, perfectly whole, just as it is, just as you are. It is listening, listening so deeply as the being, moving as the being, moving from the wisdom source. It is this wise being that breaks the conditioning and the habits of limitation. Cannot break the habits with the mind, can only break the habits by illuminating the habits to protect, illuminating the habits to distract, illuminating the habits to want things to be different. Essentially all protection, all giving power, the power of attention to the external. But to be yourself is to rest in the full power of being yourself, giving power to the internal knowing of the being that you are, resting in the full power of yourself, of the being. You have created an image, appearance of the world to reflect back to you the blind spots. You have created this image of the world to show you clearly what needs to be illuminated. You are not creating this image of the world in order to play out the game of life in separation. You are here to see through separation, that separation is an illusion. There is no separation. There is only wholeness, and you are that wholeness. We are here to see through the illusion and to live that wholeness right on the surface of life. All appearance is a creation just to carry us deeper. When we recognize this, we have the incredible possibility of receiving the grace of the flow of life and letting it guide us deeper and deeper and deeper. And the deeper in we go, we meet the wisdom, the divine wisdom that knows. The deeper in we go, we are carried. We no longer question, because the knowing is that life can only be the way it is. There is not another option. The only option is to be here now. The only option is to surrender so fully whatever the appearance on the screen is reflecting back to us. To surrender, receive, meet it. The cycle that plays out in the illusion of separation is a cycle of victimization and imagining that this world is happening to me and that it's hard. But the world is not happening to you. You are creating the appearance of the world out of your consciousness. It is truly up to you how you see it. Whether you play out being a victim, being pushed around, or whether you can fall into the possibility of seeing as the being, the reflection that you are creating. You are creating a reflection so that you can see the blind spots, can see that which is not living in full wholeness and yet is longing to. Everything is longing to live this wholeness, to live in love. And so it is just about living as this love, being the light to which everything is being magnetically pulled. Living as yourself, living as the pure wisdom that knows, and allowing everything to unravel. Give up all attempts to control, to resist, to want, and just to receive. The deeper that you fall into the bliss of pure consciousness, the more the reflection of your life will be a reflection of how deeply you are living in the being. You will start to reflect more and more of the light and love that you are. Where change happens is where the attention shifts, right? It's about the power of attention. If the attention is pointed towards the external, there will be an imbalance of power. when the attention is resting in the awareness of being, then there is a fullness, a wholeness, a knowing of who you are, happiness, simplicity, the bliss of just being yourself, more blissful than can be imagined, a bliss that comes from utter alignment with the knowing, with the wisdom. When there is an alignment with the wisdom of your own self, nothing is resisted, because the deepest knowing can only be this way. In this moment here now, there is no other option than to try to imagine something different, something better, something I would prefer, is just to distract away from the grace, the gift of life. We start to see the privilege of the human life as opposed to the problems of the human life. The privilege, the great honor that we have of living this human experience with all of its challenges, all of its wildness, and yet it offers us this great possibility to know the true nature, to come to freedom, come to know the truth of who you are, and to live this light, this love, this beauty, this wholeness right on the surface of life. And it all starts now. You cannot do it right, you cannot do it wrong. It starts now, this moment, here now. Ever fresh, ever free, ever clear, ever pure, ever innocent. This moment, here now. No relationship to the story of past, no relationship to the imaginings of future, right? All of that is mind, all of that is distraction. But somehow the nervous system holds memory of past, and it uses that memory that's held in the nervous system to create images that surface the stress. Images on the screen of your life that surface the stress in order that you can free the stress from the nervous system. When you free the stress from the nervous system, great glory, it makes more space for divinity to flow in to the cracks. It makes more space for love, for light, for the true nature to flow in. And the systems are recalibrated, the systems are reorganized, the systems are refined and cultured to allow the ability of more of your divine nature to be lived on the surface of life, using your body, your incredible body, as a vehicle for divine life to be lived. So take care of the body. It is the vehicle by which the divine life is lived, or it is the vehicle by which a lot of stress and suffering can be experienced. Take care of the body. There is a point in this unfolding where we are speaking, you are not the body. No, you are not the body. You are not a limited body mind. You are not a limited person. You are not the body. And we have to speak that you are not the body. You are not the body you have believed yourself to be. But there is a point in this unfolding when the body is everything of the human experience. And if the body cannot handle living the divine life, there will be stress. So take care of the body. Take care of the body. It is the housing, the temple that the divine uses to live on the surface of life. It is the vehicle by which it creates the illusion of separation in the beginning, right? So the identification with the body, it's a miracle, an illusory miracle, to pretend that everything is stuffed inside this body, and this is all you are. What a magic trick. Divine reality hiding inside. The imagining, I am just this person, I am just this story, I am just this small, mediocre life. But always, always deep within, there is a knowing, there has to be more, there has to be more. It can't really, this can't be all there is. Really? No, you have never believed that. You have never believed that this is all there is, because it's not. That's the plain and simple truth. It is not all there is. There is so much more. And the divine life is just waiting to unfold. It is bursting inside you. It is bursting to refine, recalibrate, and reorchestrate your systems so that the divine life, the divine reality that you are, can live on the surface of life. But first, it has to clear away all of the cobwebs, all of the illusion, all that causes distraction. And so slowly clearing away, clearing away, clearing away, making more space for love to flow into the cracks, for light to blow through the systems. So take care of the body. This is where our practices, sadhana, can be so incredibly supportive. The practices by themselves do not bring the realization of true nature. Just inquiry and simple pointing brings this. But the practices, they allow a focusing of attention. They bring us to presence. They allow us to be able to move stress through the system so that it doesn't settle and accumulate. Right? We want to keep releasing stress, releasing stress, releasing stress. We don't want to resist or hold anything in the system. We want to keep releasing, releasing, releasing. We are never to resist any true natural urges. The Veda will tell us of the 13 natural urges that we are not to resist. You can Google that. Not to resist the natural urges. Do not resist anything that is natural. We have been trained, learned to hold it all in, to contain, to control. But no, the invitation of grace is to explode, let it all go, release the conditioning, release the protection, and be free. Be free in your true nature. Let wisdom flow. Let grace flow. Let life live itself without conditions. Live the bliss of being. Live the bliss, the beauty that you are. There is no separation. There is an illusion that plays on the surface that we have bought into. We have been trained. We are innocent in our belief in separation. But the glory is that it is only a belief. It is not reality. So, your deepest inkling that there is so much more is pure truth. The deepest inkling that there is so much more is pure, honest truth. And this moment invites you into yourself, to pull the awareness, the attention of awareness inside to the being, to the wise being that lives inside, to the divine shining light of pure knowledge that lives inside. This is the invitation of this moment. It's always the invitation of this moment. It is never to let the mind come up with ideas of time wasted or missed opportunities. That is just another way the interceptor creates distraction. This moment is the perfect moment, the holy moment to know yourself. This moment is the perfect, holy moment to know yourself. Just to fall in. As the stress is released from the nervous system, attachment, learned attachment to past and stories of the past, learned attachment to memory and to keep telling your story of separation starts to fall away, because there comes this illuminated seeing. To keep telling my story is just perpetuating the story of me and the illusion of separation. There comes a point in this unfolding that all that is wanted is the freshness of now. Because the freshness of now is happiness, it is bliss, it is utter contentment. It is a knowing, a wise knowing that welcomes everything. And the more there is a resting here and deeply listening and being moved only in the truth of now, it breaks all of the conditioning. It breaks all of the learned ideas and beliefs and concepts that are being held by the mind as truth. It allows you to see through the spell of separation. Breaks the spell of separation. Pops it like a bubble. And then reality is here, and the knowing is who you have always been, is the one that has lived inside you, the one that has been a constant companion. The presence, your very own presence, has been your constant companion through the whole life. You are pure and whole and innocent. You are the immaculate being. You have never ever been anything other than yourself, and your own presence has been your constant companion through the entire life. So you are familiar with the felt sense of yourself. You know yourself. It is the first extraordinary revelation on awakening to true nature. Oh, this is so familiar. I know this. I know this. I know myself because I have always been myself. That's the revelation of the constant companionship of your own true nature. So familiar, so alive. You know yourself because you have always been yourself. You have just been distracted. The attention has just been distracted onto the movie. So the power of attention has learned to rest on the external. The power of attention has learned to rest upon things, to be enamored with things, to be enamored with the drama. But it is just a belief and it is just learned. It does not have to be unlearned in a process. It can just be seen, just to see it as the eye of awareness, just to see it and illuminate it. See it in truth. See through the illusion of separation right now. Right now, this fresh moment is the perfect moment to remember yourself. Right now, this moment, it's the perfect moment because it is fresh and alive and whole and real. Nothing has been missing. Nothing is lost. You are whole and pure and innocent, and you have always known this. So as these words come, it is just to feel the resonance. Where you can feel the aliveness of truth, you are likely to feel it in the heart, resonating as the heart. You may feel it in the heart, you may feel it in the belly as this deep-rooted yes, right? You may feel it as this expanded exuberance. You may feel it as the deep stillness that is everywhere, unbounded, unlimited. You may feel it as the purity of awareness that is simply aware and resting in the knowing. However you feel this truth, it is to confirm it in your own resonant knowing. It is only in your innermost being that you can confirm this and free yourself from the bounds of the illusion of separation. But you have never been bound. You have never been limited. And in this knowing, you can feel your unlimited nature. You can feel the magnificence of the shining light that you are in truth. This holy moment is utter wholeness, and remembering is here. Remember this wholeness that you are. Remember the peace that cannot be disturbed. Remember that underneath all concepts, beliefs, and ideas, there is this holy knowing, this wisdom light, and this wisdom light is your true nature. Pure wisdom is the knowing of yourself, self-knowledge, pure and simple. Just to know yourself. You do not need to know anything with the mind. There is nothing that is acquired knowledge that is of use. Not for this unfolding. Because the wisdom knows, the knowing knows, and it is resting in this wisdom and living as this wisdom that breaks free all of the attachments to past, to future, and breaks free, bursts the bubble of the illusion of separation. So as these words come, just to feel the resonance of your knowing shining, just to feel where you know this truth inside you. It is just another belief that it is elusive. It is just another belief that it is only for certain special individuals or ascended ones or well-practiced ones or whatever other nonsense the mind has taken on. You are the being that is whole and pure and innocent. You are not to believe these words. You are to feel the resonance of these words as a transmission of your own wholeness, a transmission of your own heart speaking the truth to you. This is the reflection you are creating in this moment. In this moment, you are creating a reflection of your own magnificence. You are creating a reflection of the truth of who you are. You are creating a reflection of your own silent being, your own immaculate wholeness, so that you can receive the resonance and remember. And where the remembering is already in place, you can deepen, you can fall in, and you can celebrate in joyous jubilance the grace, and you can feel the flow. And as the flow flows and the knowing knows, there is a flourishing of the bliss, and the bliss continues to refine and recalibrate, reculture all of the systems to allow more and more and more. It is here in the flow of bliss you can afford to be greedy. It is not the kind of greed that is a distraction. It is not the kind of greed that is the imbalance of power of a me that is trying to accumulate. It is a hunger, a deep hunger being satiated, a deep hunger to be nourished with the wisdom, knowledge of yourself. It is a deep hunger to know yourself and to feast on the bliss moving through your systems, to feast on the bliss, to drink it in, because feasting on the bliss is what cultures and refines. It's what allows the body to shift from being a regular old body to being a service vehicle. It's what refines the body into divine housing, right? It still looks the same from the outside, but my goodness, it does not feel the same. You are walking light. You are walking vibrations of divine light. Light that is just bouncing and bouncing and bouncing in jubilant celebration. Light that is just bouncing, bouncing. And right now, that same light, it's bouncing in all of your cells. It's bouncing in all of the cells that make up all of your systems. It's bouncing as this perfect aliveness, this perfect aliveness. And it is allowing the bliss of being to move through the systems so that you can feel the ever deepening resonance, can feel the resonance more deeply. In the silence, in the stillness. This moment, this fresh moment, just to come to the silence, the stillness, the presence, the knowing of the presence, and to fall in. There is an aliveness to this presence. The aliveness is the knowing, where the presence knows its own presence, where the being knows its own beingness. There is an aliveness. Where you feel the aliveness, start to feel how the aliveness is everywhere. It is unbounded, unlimited. And the feeling of yourself, you start to feel yourself, can feel like an expansion. What you are feeling is not someone that has expanded. You are feeling the true, unlimited, unbounded presence of your nature, your unlimited nature. Your attention has just shifted from being, I am the body, I am the mind, I am the person. The attention has shifted to the unbounded silence of being. And as the attention shifts to the unbounded, you do not even know how it shifted. You do not know, what did I do to suddenly expand into the boundless being? You did nothing. There was no doing involved. You received the transmission of your own knowing, and you just fell in to a clear perspective where you know yourself and you can feel the unboundedness of your being that is everywhere, is nowhere, is unlimited. The felt sense of being has no container, no containment. Just to feel it now, confirm it now in your direct experience. Everything that is spoken, check it, confirm it. We're not sharing something that is to be believed. Do not believe me. Do not, please, do not believe me. Check it in your direct experience and confirm it in your direct experience. This is what leads to the possibility of you freeing yourself more and more inside the innermost being. So confirm the felt sense of yourself. You are not inside the body. You are not a story. You are not a person. Just feel that now and confirm it. You do not need to go to the mind to try to understand or make sense. That mechanism will shift the attention back to the contraction, where the attention has relaxed to rest in its vastness. You are inside the presence of now. You are inside the presence of your wholeness. You are inside the peace and glory of your own self. Just to be here, just to be here and feel the gorgeousness of yourself. That you have no edges, no boundaries. The felt sense of who you are is everywhere. You can see now as the awareness that you are everywhere. You cannot see yourself, but you are aware of yourself everywhere. But you can see the person. You can see the mind-body. Where are you seeing from? You are bigger than the mind-body. And yet simultaneously, you can feel using the body mechanism. Can feel subtleties. Consciousness is conscious of itself. Consciousness is conscious of itself. It's using its own consciousness to recognize itself. So we could say present to itself. The being just being itself. Awareness aware of itself. Consciousness consciously aware of itself. So consciousness is using its consciousness to be consciously aware of itself. And as consciousness is consciously aware of itself, it is aware of itself as dynamically being everywhere. Unbounded freedom. And so the felt sense of yourself shifts to being unbounded freedom. The felt sense of yourself shifts because your consciousness is consciously aware of its fullness. So the felt sense of yourself is no longer limited, it is unlimited. The felt sense of yourself is no longer finite and contained, it is infinite freedom. You are not a person who is infinite freedom, you are infinite freedom itself. You have exploded out of the bounds of the illusion. You have exploded out of the bounds of the illusion of being a separate someone contained in a body. You're like a jack in the box. You have exploded out of the bounds. And now you have exploded. You know yourself as infinite. And guess what? You cannot fit yourself back in to the box because now you know yourself as unlimited. You do not even want to fit yourself back into the box. But how could you fit the unlimited into a limited space, right? You can't, nor have you ever. You have never ever been limited inside. when you feel your unlimited nature, you recognize, I have never been that limited person, because you feel the infinite, unlimited, boundless nature. You feel how vast, how huge you are, and you recognize, I have never been inside that body. I have never been contained. There's nothing that could contain what I am, right? You feel that what I am is freedom. I am freedom, and I have always been free. I have never been squashed inside the skin and bones. That has just been an illusion. And so you see through the illusion of separation, because you have never ever been squidged into a body, right? So once you bust out, you can feel in your direct experience. Confirm it now. Confirm it. How could you ever fit inside the body? Let's confirm something else. Could you go anywhere? Could you hide anywhere? Could you ever not be here as the unlimited being? No. Where could you hide? Where does the unlimited, infinite being hide from itself? It doesn't. It cannot. You are ever free, right? So you see clearly. You see clearly in the knowing, right? You're not seeing with your eyes a new spectacle. You're not creating a new illusion, right? You're seeing with the eye of the heart. The eye of the heart is clear vision, it's clarity. You're seeing as light. You're seeing as illumination. You're seeing as the illumination of awareness illuminated in its own aware knowing of itself, right? You're not seeing using sense perception of sight. It's insight. It's clear vision. But the knowing, right? Feel the knowing. It's so clear. Feel how the knowing is so clear. You are infinite, unbounded. You are everywhere. You are the being. It's so clear. You cannot ever hide from yourself. You cannot ever lose yourself. You never have hidden. You never have. You never have. And yet this Maya came in. If the attention goes towards an object, you can play the game. If the attention goes towards an object, you feel to be the person. If you go towards a thought, you feel to be the person, right? Might feel a little risky, but you cannot lose yourself, because here you are, right? You do not identify with any object, and you are utterly free. You are the infinite, boundless being, and the infinite, boundless being is here, this presence, stillness, silence, this presence, here, right? The only location you have is here. Has nothing to do with the environment, nothing to do with anything. You are here. And when you are fully here, you are presence itself. And as presence itself, you are still. You are here, right? Presence, here, now, still, knowing. And the felt sense, when there are no tendrils going out towards things, you are in your presence. You have pulled all the tendrils from the external into your presence. And you are inside your own presence. And inside your own presence, who would ever have imagined there is this infinite, unbounded landscape of consciousness? You go all the way in, and you discover infinity inside you, inside your own presence, infinity, unbounded freedom is right here inside you, cannot be lost. Feel it, confirm it, recognize it in your own consciousness. It is so important to go into the direct experience and confirm it here now. It's not a thought, it's not an exercise, it's not an instruction, it's just to be here. And when you feel yourself here, you are everywhere, you are nowhere, you are infinite, unbounded, you have no edges, you are freedom itself. You are not the person, you are aware of the person. What is the person anyway? The person, you are aware of thoughts, a story, a body, right? Flesh, bones. You're aware of all that making up the person. But you can feel now in your direct experience that that is not who you are. You are not confined to that. You are so much vaster. And yet you can simultaneously feel the person, because the person is part of infinity. But when you feel yourself as the infinite, you're feeling yourself at every point in the infinite field simultaneously. So the felt sense of yourself shifts from feeling I am here in the body to I am everywhere, and I include the body, right? I include that which we call the person. The person is in what you are. You're the vast open spaciousness. This person that you believed yourself to be is inside you, right? Inside the vastness. And yet curiously, you go inside your own presence to open to infinity. When you open to infinity, you are awake at every point in this infinite field simultaneously. And you can see, feel, know that the person is just one infinite point in the field. And you are awake to yourself, and you remember yourself as the unbounded being. You confirm it in your own experience. You cannot ever lose yourself. You are freedom. You are stillness. You are the stillness. You are the presence. This is the felt sense of who you are. And you confirm it by feeling. The felt sense of what I am is everywhere. What I am is just being. I'm just here now, now, now the timeless. Now you have escaped the play of time. You are just now, now, now. You have only ever been now. You have always known yourself here now. This is the ever fresh presence now, the presence of now, now, now. You are timeless being, eternal, timeless being. You have never been bound by time. So you have never been bound by story. You have never been bound by past or future. You have never even been bound by present experience. You have always been freedom of presence. You have never been bound by any of the limitations of time. You can feel that now in your direct experience. Even this direct experience, right? It's not in time. It's not in this moment of time. It is in this eternal moment, right? The direct experience, let's call it the true experience of yourself, is only ever now, is only ever timeless, right? So you cannot lose this direct experience. You cannot tell the story of this direct experience. This direct experience is always now, and it's always fresh, and it's always here. as these words come, feel the resonance. Feel where it makes sense. Feel where it lands. It lands in your knowing. Your knowing is pure wisdom, right? So what is speaking is your own wisdom, light, shining. It is illumination. It is illuminated wisdom. And where it lands, you feel like an illuminated aha, like, yes, yes, there's a seeing, but it's not an apparition. It is deep knowing, right? Can you feel that? Can you feel where there's a landing and you're confirming it in the being? As you confirm it in the being, it's just truth, right? Truth has no opposite. Truth is just like a big gong sounding. It's like a clear bell ringing. Bing! Right? It's so pure. It doesn't have a moment of possibility for doubt. It's just, that's it. That's truth. Yes. Right? It's not, maybe, could it be, not sure. No, none of that. All of that is the mind. It's the clear bell. Boom! Just ringing. It's truth. Right? It's the pure, unstruck sound, right? The sound that's not a happening. It's just pure. It's it's now. It's pure awareness. It's the light. It's the illuminated principle of Brahman, right? It's just now, now, now. It's just this truth. Yes, yes, yes. No opposite, right? It's truth with no opposite. It's perfection, wholeness with no opposite. Cannot be diminished, cannot be tainted or touched, and never has been. And in this moment, as you receive this resonance, this transmission of your own truth, you recognize, yes, it's so clear. It's so clear. It's the great Alleluia. It's the glory shining. And the shining glory is pure power, the power of the undivided self, the power of the undivided being that you are. Clarity, perfect clarity, immaculate, immaculate, right? Immaculate is pure, undivided wholeness, right? Do not let the mind try to get hold of these words, because the mind will always be trying to taint and say, whoa, can't say immaculate. No, I couldn't say yes to that. That would just be too much. Can't say yes to purity. Oh, no, no, no. Because we've learned to be sinners. We're not sinners. That's part of the illusion. The sin is believing you're a sinner, right? There is no sin. The sin is believing the story of sin. The sin is believing in the illusion of separation. You are immaculate. You have always been immaculate, right? Come to the rapturous bliss of knowing your immaculate nature. Let go of the story of something missing, something lacking, and fall directly in to your perfection, the utter perfection, the goodness. You are good. You are good. You are innocent. You are whole. Let us undo all those programs of all of those church sermons, right? Let us undo the programming. You are good. You are good. You were programmed to you learned the story of separation. You learned to forget who you are. Right now, remember. And remember that you have always remembered. You've always known this truth. Fall into the knowing. fall into yourself. Fall into the immaculate presence, the perfection, the wholeness of who you are. You are everywhere. You are unbounded. There is not a way to get here. It is just to receive the resonance, the transmission, and fall in. If you try, you will just be in the mind's tangle. Just be here. Just be here. There is no trying, no effort needed. Just to be here as yourself and be free. You have always been free as freedom. You have always been free of time. You have always been free of the story. You are in no way bound by the story, right? You are utter freedom. And as utter freedom, you can live this life as freedom. You can receive the play of life knowing that it does not touch you. Let's confirm that right now. You are not touched by thoughts. You are not touched by the story. As you feel your presence here now, confirm, is the presence of being touched in any way by any thought or anything? Is the presence of being touched? No. The presence of being is utterly free of things. Nothing touches the presence. Awareness, the aware presence, is aware of things, but awareness, if attention does not identify with things, then you are utterly free. Even if attention does identify, you are still utterly free. But if attention identifies, you will feel to be in the Maya. And yet the knowing is still here, right? It is to experiment, play as attention, right? Go towards an object, but don't identify. Fall back, right? You've got a bit of leeway. You can play as attention. You can be aware of things. You can enjoy being aware of things, but you only fragment when you start using sense perception. The first thought as a me gives rise to the second thought as a me. It gives rise to the third and the 10th and the 100th. And my goodness, it happens very, very quickly, right? Suddenly, it's just a few moments later and you're on thought 337, right? So, just to see, it's okay for thinking to happen, but rest as the awareness of thinking. As soon as you identify, it's like you give the power of attention to an object and identification happens. In truth, what really happens is you are always the awareness. If you can rest as awareness and know that you're only aware of the whole movie because you are awareness. For those that are deeper in, you will be able to follow what is being spoken. Do not try to be where you are not. If you are just to be as the stillness and to feel your unbounded presence, rest here. If the words do not land, do not try to find a way of understanding. They either land or they don't. If they don't land, just let them go. Just be here, be here, be here, be here, be here. And if the resonance lands and brings a truth like a shining light, then let the illumination just be a celebration. And otherwise, just let the transmission just keep wearing away, because the transmission is refining, it's calibrating, recalibrating. It's all happening in the unseen. Do not worry with the mind about where you are and what you're getting and what you're not getting. It's got nothing to do with mind. We are not here for mind. We are here as the being. We are here for truth and truth alone. So where you feel truth land like an aha, boom, fall in, settle in, feel the light of illumination as there's a landing. Feel the knowing, and that there is a shining that happens in the knowing as the knowing knows. The self knowing itself, it shines in and of itself. It is the unlit light, the unstruck sound. It's pure innocence, pure clear knowing. There's no wandering. There's no wandering in pure truth. And when you feel this, when it lands, it's just, oh yes, yes, right? Sometimes the words will land and you will recognize, oh, I've heard that so many times, but hear the landing, hear the landing. Do not be distracted by the mind. Do not let the mind try to take hold, try to understand, try to get somewhere, try to achieve something. All of those are mental concepts that will create distraction and frustration. If you notice anything like that happening, even just going towards a thought that's trying to understand, if you notice that, you'll feel the contraction. Just to use it as an experimental moment to say, oh, there's the contraction, and to recognize you are the awareness of the contraction, and drop back to be the awareness. As awareness, you are always whole. As awareness, you are never touched. As awareness, be aware of mind, be aware of objects, but recognize that the deepest gorgeousness is when awareness is just aware of itself and falling into the divine revelation of just being. Hear the light, hear the wholeness, hear the bliss, hear the peace, hear the happiness. Remember the undivided wholeness, where there is no fragmentation, no division, no illusion of separation. And you can confirm here in your direct experience, there is no separation. What I am is not separate. What I am is the vast, infinite unboundedness. I am freedom. I am wholeness. I am immaculate, pure innocence. In truth, we could say that the being itself doesn't speak to say, I am freedom. The knowing of freedom just expresses it in the direct experience. And yet, at the same time, there could be a speaking of the knowing, I am the freedom, I am the freedom, I am the freedom. But the I am that is the freedom is the I am presence that is freedom. It's not someone. It's not I am someone who is freedom. The I am freedom, I am freedom, I am silence, I am stillness, I am that, I am that, I am that. It's not someone, it's I am the presence that recognizes that, just that which is, right? Has to land. And where it lands, it carries you deeper and deeper and deeper into the realms of your own consciousness. Your consciousness is the one consciousness. It's pure consciousness, and it's flowing, divinely flowing. And as it flows, it's flowing light, it's flowing grace. And this flowing grace appears as life. It is the source of all life. And this is why we can too, with inquiry, follow anything back to find its source and land in the divine revelation. What is this I? Even in the felt sense, I am, I am. Even in the felt sense, I am the person, I am the body, I am feeling the I to be limited. You keep repeating, just in the direct experience, not repeating as someone with a mantra, but just feel the I, the I, the I, the I am, the I am, or the being, the felt sense of your own existence. You feel the purity, and even if it feels to start with to be identified at a singular point, as you keep staying with it, it will start to expand miraculously to reveal its true identity. And you will find, where does this I come from? What is the source? It comes from nowhere. It comes from here. It just is. There's no words. There's nothing. There's emptiness. There's just presence, right? Can follow anything back. Where does this whole appearance come from? You cannot find an answer. It just brings you to nothing. It brings you to emptiness. And the mind says, well, there's nothing here. But the being says, this is everything. This is nothing and this is everything. This is emptiness and fullness. This is wholeness. Because the felt sense of who you are here, now, is full and blissful, content, blissful emptiness, blissful contentment. It is to confirm in your direct experience. Do not be looking for ideas of what awakening is or looking for some kind of experience for the me. Just the direct experience of who you are here now, to feel that you are not limited, that you are freedom, you are stillness, you are presence. Just to feel and confirm this brings a certain joy that is causeless, a certain joy that is happy, is okay, is good, where there are no opposites, right? Happiness is just always here, right? The play of separation that seems to have unhappiness is just like a masking, right? Suffering, all of that is just a masking, right? But happiness, just like now, here, presence, it's always just here, never ever changes. So to be here, landed, grounded, rooted, anchored, here now, in your own presence, your own timeless presence, free of story, free of things, and the knowing is, what I am is not a person. What I am is presence, is wholeness, is silence. What I am is this divine moment, openness, open receptivity, just as it is. This is the truth of who you are. And this moment, the confirmation is in the being. To just be yourself. You do not need to know a thing, because the wisdom of pure knowing is here in the being. Just being yourself, being your radiant self. The radiance is the illuminated self, the illuminated heart, the wide openness that is just blindingly brilliant with its own self-luminous essence, so bright, light, the unlit light, right? Truth, so pure, so clear in your direct experience. No question, this is who you are, no question. The unstruck sound, truth, pure resonance, silence. Silence, pure resonance of the silent stop, just being, just yourself, being silent, being alive in the knowing only of yourself, pure wisdom, pure grace, pure blissful emptiness, wide open, radiant heart of being.